Joining me is Lorraine Fournette, and Lorraine is the sister of Dickie Valier from Berlin, who is being inducted into the New Hampshire Legends Hockey Hall of Fame. And Lorraine, since you were Dickie's older sister, when do you first remember him on skates and playing hockey?
I remember him playing for Guardian Angel on the ice outside rinks, and he had a pair of skates that he couldn't. They were too big for him, but he still managed to get in there and skate. That's the last time.
Was that on the old Frog Pond in Berlin?
Frog Pond, and then when he skated for Guardian Angel, they used to skate outside rinks.
Now, I understand he was diagnosed with polio at the age of 12, but obviously it didn't slow him down.
Not at all. He didn't want to stay in. He kept on going. He went out. We were quarantined at a time, too. And then that's when he contracted polio. But it didn't stop him at all.
Had a great spirit.
Yes, he certainly did. Yeah.
Talk about his days at Notre Dame High School in Berlin. 4 straight high school championships, first high school championships in the state of New Hampshire as it was recognized. And what a career he had there.
He certainly did. He certainly did. I remember when they won the first championship, New Hampshire championship, he came to my house. I was married then my first year, and he came to the house and he brought the trophy, the plaque, with him to show me with some of his friends there, the hockey friends. So it was a nice time for him, nice time for all of us.
Oh, absolutely. Winning that first championship had to be very special.
That was special. That was special. My parents went. They went to all his games. I babysat, but that's okay. We still enjoyed it.
And I'm sure the place was packed all the time up there.
Oh yes, definitely. The arena was always packed. Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Absolutely. Great hockey city. Always has been, always will be.
Yeah.
No question. Do you recall some of the players that he played with during his high school days?
Didier Villeneuve, Ron Dayette, Blackburn, Dodo Lacroix.
The list goes on and on.
Albie Broder.
Oh, okay.
Broder. I remember Albie, and all kinds of guys. I don't remember their names. I can see their faces, but that's about it.
And then went on to play for the Berlin Maroons.
Oh yes, that was fun time. I did see a few of those games. I enjoyed going, but then my family started growing. But my husband did follow him. He went to every game, and it was great when we'd hear about. I'd listen on the radio when it was broadcasted, and it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
And I'm sure he would have loved this day here with so many people that he knew.
I'm so sorry that they couldn't come. They live in Lumberton. He has 3 daughters and a son, Michael. And Michael, I'm sure, would have loved to have come, but they just couldn't make it.
And that's in North Carolina?
Yes, Lumberton, North Carolina. So there's a storm brewing over there. I says, Dickie's brewing up that storm.
That's what he's doing, huh? That's what he's doing up there, huh? Yeah. But he worked for Converse for many years, and then when it closed in Berlin, moved to Lumberton.
Lumberton, yes, he moved to Lumberton, and he stayed there till he passed away in 98. Like I say, my mother passed away in 97, and he passed away in 98. And Dickie was a crybaby. We call him a crybaby because he waited for my mom on the top of the hill at Champlain Street. If my mother'd leave, he'd sit there. The minute he'd see her coming up, he'd go and play. So I said, when he passed away, I told my mama, I said, you came to get your crybaby.
Well, Lorraine, we want to thank you. So many great memories of your late brother, Dickie Valier. Certainly a worthy recipient of this honor, and so great to have you with us here today.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to have helped a little bit in one way. Like I say, I couldn't. Somebody needed to do the research, and Walter certainly did a good job. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
One of the new inductees into the New Hampshire Legends of Hockey, And certainly a worthy recipient, Jim Rivers. Jim, with over 40 years of hockey broadcasting in the state of New Hampshire at all different levels.
A lot of cold arenas, Ken. I was thinking the other day to go from 40 years ago broadcasting in places like St. Paul's School and Campion Rink where you froze, to joining you in the comfort of the Verizon doing the Monarchs. It's been an interesting 40 years.
Well, it has to have been, and even the high school arenas themselves. I mean, not only have they become more plentiful, but more enjoyable to broadcast games from in recent years.
Oh, absolutely. Some of them have even put heaters in. You think? But yes, they have, and the press boxes that they put in some of the new arenas, it's really made it a joy. But it's fun to look back on the Notre Dame Arena and getting to go down to Rhode Island, Mount St. Charles, and broadcast there, and some of the fine arenas, old arenas, the JFK, the Everett Arena, Campion. They're still good barns.
And you've seen them all.
I think I've seen every one of them in the state in one game or another.
And broadcast from them as well. As an aspiring broadcaster growing up here in New Hampshire, who were some of the influences that you had? A lot of great broadcasters in New England.
I was talking to the gentleman who was doing the program, and I said, we're really spoiled here in New Hampshire, growing up in the shadows of the Boston market, because you travel to other parts of the country, and you hear some of the broadcasters out there, and they just pale in comparison to some of the guys that we grew up with. I remember Freddie Cusick, who I then had in college as a professor. Of course, Bob Wilson, who's the best, and some of the great Kurt Gowdy. In fact, his book was one of the first books I ever read, Cowboy at the Mic. Yeah. So we've been very fortunate, and I would say those guys. Bob Wilson, by far, is the best hockey broadcaster that I ever heard growing up. Freddie Cusick, Johnny Pearson, Kurt Gowdy, Ken Coleman, Ned Martin on the baseball side. So we're really fortunate.
We have been.
And I listened to you when I was a little kid, too.
Yeah, I know you did. And I know I was a great inspiration to you. But Fred Cusick, a professor. How about that?
Yeah, I had to take an extra course in college, and I said sports broadcasting, so I figured, well, I'll take that. And who walks into the classroom but Freddie Cusick, who was at the time doing the Bruins, and he was wonderful, and he was just a great human being, beside being a broadcaster. And really took a lot of time even with some of the young people that he probably knew weren't going to go very far. They were just taking the course, and then later on, working for the Monarchs, I got a chance to interview him and talk with him years later, so it was a great thrill.
Do you remember that first hockey broadcast that you did in the state of New Hampshire?
I did. It was with Dick Osborne, and it was a Brady-Concord game. And I even remember the goal was scored by John Dunn as Concord beat Bishop Brady. I remember hitting my head on the pipe above the snack bar at the Everett Arena several times in that game. But yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember doing games from that end of the arena where sometimes the fog was so bad you couldn't see the goal at the other end. I could never figure out how Dick could see what was going on. But yeah, I do. I remember doing those high school games and then jumping the car and racing down to Fitchburg or Braintree and doing a New England Hockey League game.
So many times, 2 games in a day.
Oh, often. And one thing I remember, I'll never forget, is that when I first started, it was just to let Dick eat popcorn. We used to read commercials from the game site. It wasn't, you didn't go back to the station. You actually read them, so you could speed up a little bit when you saw the linesman bringing the puck down to drop the puck. Dick would do the interviews after the game, the player of the game. And one day he said, would you like to interview the player of the game? And I said, sure. So we dropped the mic over the snack bar, and I'm down there, and a guy by the name of Roger Letourneau from Berlin. And the gentleman stuttered. I didn't know that. So there's kids all around me, and I asked Roger a question, and he started to stutter. And the kids, as you'd expect, started giggling and laughing, and I'm trying to keep from laughing. Made it through the interview. A week later, I got this beautiful letter from Roger saying, thank you so much. No one's ever asked me to do an interview before, and here I thought it was Osborne setting me up, but I never forgot that. And again, Roger, another great hockey player that played out of Berlin.
Well, you worked with Dick Osborne, who is a New Hampshire hockey legend, another guy that you worked with well over 1,000 games in your career, Harvey Smith, and that was a great relationship in the booth.
We did everything from soccer to field hockey to basketball to softball to football and hockey, of course. And Harvey was just a special person because he taught at the school. He knew the kids. He came prepared. They loved being interviewed by him. If there's anything I could complain about Harvey, is sometimes his post-game show went longer than the hockey game itself. But it was a great partner over a number of years, and I was really disappointed when he He retired a couple of years ago. In fact, I almost had him talked into coming back again a year or so later, but he's on to retirement, and good for him.
Well, there's a guy, and I think we can both put in a plug that he should be a legend of New Hampshire hockey.
Absolutely. Harvey should be, in my mind, the next broadcaster to come into this Hall of Fame, without question.
And I only worked a few games with Harvey over the years. You worked well over 1,000 with Harvey, but as you said, he was the master of preparation.
Oh, he was, and he could tell you, if Dunk Walsh beat Gary Bishop, if it was snowing outside, if it was a Tuesday night, what they had for supper. He had records on everything. And people would call me from the paper and say, "Can you give me some stats on this?" I'd say, "Call Harvey. Harvey's got them up here." I don't know what he did with those records. That would be something to put into the Hall of Fame.
And you're continuing. I mean, this has not come to an end. You will continue to do high school hockey and hockey at any level
Sure.
in the state.
As long as these legs will carry me up to the various press boxes around the state, I will continue. This will be my 42nd year. I started in '71, and this will be my 42nd.
And still going strong.
Still going strong. Yep. Yeah, age is just a number, Ken. You know that.
Yeah, I do. And Jim, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. And you know what? Another person I need to mention is getting the opportunity to work with you, Ken. One of the real good guys in broadcasting in the state.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Jim Rivers, inductee in the class of 2012, the New Hampshire Legends of Hockey. Inducted today in the New Hampshire Legends Hockey Hall of Fame, Dick Dodd's 31st season at Hanover High School, and time must have flown by.
No, it really has, but it's been a great experience, a great 30 years and to date, and to be here today with the folks that are part of the Legends is such a treat and such an honor. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's amazing. 31 years. You're still a young guy. You started very young in the coaching ranks. When did you first start thinking about coaching?
Well, it's funny because when I think about how it all started, it was really just pure luck. I had graduated from college, and I enjoyed my hockey experience as a youngster and in high school and college, and I wanted to try to pay back and help out, and so I applied for the assistant's job at the local high school and was accepted, and then 2 years later the varsity coach left, and I applied for that, and as a 23-year-old I took over, and I've enjoyed every minute.
Who are some of the people that have meant a lot to you over the years, your mentors in the coaching business?
Well, I think there have been so many of them, but the coach I just mentioned, Jack Turco, was the coach that hired me. And more recently, Bob Gaudette, the Dartmouth hockey coach, have been just tremendous resources for me. Gentlemen that are terrific hockey folks, but much more than that. They taught me how to juggle, family life, community life, with the hockey part of it. So those two folks are very approachable, and still I consider them to be my mentors.
It's not easy sometimes juggling all those things. You've won your share of state championships. You've had a chance to coach your sons and a nephew. It's been tremendous, and you're still going strong.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. Another thing I'm very proud of is the fact that I think we've won more sportsmanship awards than we've won state championships. So, I've always tried to go with the motto, enter the game a gentleman and leave it the same way, and I'm hoping we've been able to spread that word to a lot of the kids of the Upper Valley.
How has the game changed over the last 31 years that you've been coaching?
Wow, has it ever? It's changed in every way imaginable, from the equipment, the old wooden sticks are gone, the equipment has just gotten so much better and more protective. The kids, the skill level's gone up quite a bit, and it's just a lot more kids playing hockey, and the development's changed quite a bit. I can remember being a young player, and we'd play once or twice a week, but we would play as a team. But we'd play, the other days we weren't playing, we'd all be down at the local pond skating and playing with our friends. But now it's more, they're practicing 3 or 4 times a week, 2 games on the weekends. So that's changed a little bit too.
What's the outlook for your Hanover team this year?
Well, we're real excited. We've got a good core of kids coming back, and it's the type of team I think we're going to really strive to get better every single day, and every chance we get an opportunity to get on the ice to improve, and I think that's going to help us. So we're excited.
Dick, congratulations, and enjoy the day.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it.
Jim Tufts is with us, new inductee, the class of 2012, the New Hampshire Legends Hockey Hall of Fame. Jim from Exeter, and Jim, congratulations, first of all.
Thanks. It's a great honor. Great honor to be here.
Tell us about your hockey background, when it first started for you in Exeter.
I was one of the first guys in Exeter youth hockey. Exeter youth hockey started in the early 60s, and I was fortunate to be in that crew, and went on and played at Phillips Exeter, and then went to the coaching world.
You went to UNH, but did not play hockey there, played soccer.
Well, Charlie Holt was a great mentor to me. I didn't get to play for him, but he encouraged me to continue my soccer career, and it worked out really well for me.
I guess it did. And you're another guy, Dick Dodds, another one that got into the coaching career very, very early.
Yeah, I was a head coach at 25 years old. Very fortunate, and a lot of fun and great opportunity, and haven't given it up yet. Still fun.
When you were a young player, was that something that you thought about?
It was interesting. One of the guys that was a real influence to me was George Groh, legend of hockey. And I had a chance I played for George at Phillips Exeter, and the things he did with the youth program. And, we talk a lot about role models and experiences. And somewhere in there, that experience of what he was doing in Exeter was something that looked like fun. And lo and behold, ended up being a career.
Did you ever think at that time you would be the winningest coach in New Hampshire high school history?
No, absolutely not. And it's a good thing that they got me in now, because next year or two, Dick's going to go by me. So I'm lucky to get in now before that happens.
Well, tell us a little bit about your Learn to Play hockey program.
It's just fun. The 5 and 6 year olds. The thrill of teaching them to skate, score a goal, handle a puck, and things like that. And it may be at 5, 6, and 7 the last pure joy of hockey and nothing else going on. And it's fun for me. If you go to my high school locker room, 60% of the kids I've got in there started to learn to play hockey, and so it goes full circle with me. But getting up on Saturday mornings and seeing those kids is just fun.
Well, like Dick, you're still a young guy, Jim. So, any thoughts of retirement at all from the hockey world?
Thoughts about it, but right now it's still fun. I get that question a lot. A lot of my contemporaries are playing golf, but it's fun. I'm having fun, and as long as I'm having fun, and I think the kids are benefiting from it, I'm still going.
Jim Tufts, congratulations, class of 2012, New Hampshire Legends of Hockey.
Thank you very much, Ken. It's an honor to be here.
A new induction into the Legends of Hockey in 2012 from Derry, New Hampshire, Kathleen Toomey. And Kathleen, congratulations to you, first of all.
Thank you very much. It's an honor.
And I know you started playing sports at a very, very young age.
Well, yeah, I got 3 brothers, so when I started walking, my parents put me on skates. I don't know how well I skated, but I was in them, so started right away.
And that was what, like at 2, something like that?
Yep. Right away.
So I would say that's a very young age, and played some traveling hockey early.
Yep. We allowed to pick one sport we wanted to play travel, so I chose hockey, and guess played my whole life. So.
You played everything. You went to Trinity High School in Manchester and played just about everything.
Yep. Played basketball, softball, soccer, cross country. Small school, so you can. You got to make the team, obviously, but I had a lot more opportunities, I would say, than maybe other people.
And then on to St. Anselm College, where you had just a terrific career.
Yeah, I did wonderful. Coach was awesome. Team was great. I think everyone did great just because of the environment. So,
who were some of your influences that other than your brothers? Any coaches that along the way that were really helpful to you?
Yeah, Lenny Rowe actually. He now coaches Chelmsford High, and Chelmsford, Mass, obviously. He was my coach. He started coaching me when I was like 10 or 12, and I just followed him around everywhere he went. I went because he was an awesome coach, made everything fun, at the same time worked hard. So he was great. Also, Dave Flint, I think, took me to that next level in the college career when I first got there. So both of them were awesome.
All-time leading scorer at St. Anselm College. Just a terrific achievement.
Yes, yes. I never thought that would happen, but I'm glad it did.
Do you have a greatest thrill in hockey?
No, I just think, just playing. I like close games, competitions, tough games. So any game that's close, you win by one, or even if you lose by one, those are the best games to play.
And I understand you were involved in a national championship at one time.
Yeah, actually, well, I won when I was like 12, maybe. But I'm doing this old ladies league, and we won last year.
Oh, old ladies league.
Yes. I don't know what it's called, but we call it old ladies league, and because it's after college, obviously. But yeah, we won nationals last year. I didn't even know there was one. So
Congratulations. Where was that?
it was in Marlboro, actually. So it was nice. States were there, then the nationals were there. So it's like
that's-
old days again.
Yeah, really. And you've done some coaching along the way?
Yep, I coached it. I coached for 2 years at U12 Lady Cyclones, Northern Lady Cyclones, and then I just helped put together the Trinity Brady varsity girls team. So this is the first year they'll go varsity. So, but I'm moving, so I can't coach anymore. But.
Okay. Well, Kathleen, congratulations. You've had a great career, and I'm sure it will continue, even if it is the old ladies league, right?
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here.
Julie Sassner is our newest inductee into the New Hampshire Legends Hockey Hall of Fame in the class of 2012. And Julie, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you. It's quite an honor. It's something I never expected.
All started on the ponds in Durham, as I understand it.
Yeah, that's right. My family lived in a big old farmhouse, and we had a pond right next door. And, we'd play a lot there. We'd also go down the street and play at Beard's Landing and Jackson's Landing, also in Durham, and Snively Arena.
Absolutely. And who were some of your early influences in hockey?
I would say the UNH hockey players, both the men and the women. I watched all the games, and I think I was pretty lucky back in the early 70s as a female playing hockey to have female role models playing. So one of them is going to be here tonight, Jeannie Menard. She was a star defenseman for Russ McCurdy's team back then, and we watched her play against Concordia and Providence and Northeastern, all the best female competition at the time, and then she came and coached our team as well. So it's pretty special to be able to be coached by our idols.
Well, absolutely so. And as you said, as a young hockey player, that had to be just an incredible thrill.
Absolutely. My figure skating coach was actually the one who started the girls team, Debbie Demopier. And I think she felt, at that time, she wasn't able to make it on the UNH hockey team because she didn't get an early start. So she thought, I'm going to make sure these girls in Durham get an early start at hockey.
And you played and very successfully at Harvard, had a great career there.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We won a couple Ivy League championships there, and that's where I met the best friends that I have in my life, and, as well as some of the girls I played with on Durham Youth Association, and then that later became Oyster River Youth Association hockey. So those are lifelong friendships. I'm going to see a bunch of them today.
Not that it was that long ago, but how has women's hockey evolved and changed over the years that you've been involved in it?
Oh, just tremendous change. I mean, when I was playing, there weren't a whole lot of great female athletes that chose the sport of ice hockey. Now they really do. I think back then a lot of the great athletes, the great females, were playing basketball, and they were playing tennis, and they were playing softball. And now you see great female athletes. If you go to a college game now, it's just night and day. In a way, maybe a little less of the Red Rover, send Stasner on over. You might not see people standing out as much because everybody's so good. To make those teams now, you've had to play your whole life.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your coaching career, which was terrific.
Yeah, it started off after I graduated. I stayed right at Harvard a couple years. I got my master's degree, went out to California. My first head coaching job was in soccer. I played that at Harvard as well. That was at Cal State Hayward. But then when Cornell University started or they offered a full-time coaching job for the first time to for the female hockey team. I was chosen to do that, and I was there for 5 years. Started the women's program at University of Wisconsin and went on to the Olympic team, 2002 Olympics, Salt Lake City from there. So, it's funny when I look back at, the ponds of Durham, New Hampshire and Snively Arena and Jackson's Landing, and then I think, I played at Harvard and I played on the national team in 1990, the first time they did that, and then I got to go to the Olympics in 2002. I just can't believe it. I've covered a lot of bases in the sport of hockey.
And you've been with some of the great women's hockey players of our day.
Yeah, I was looking down the list of the honorees, and the current Hall of Fame members, and they include 3 women that I coached, Katie King and Tara Mounsey and Trish Dunn-Luoma. So it's pretty fun for Kathleen Toomey and me to come and join that pretty elite list of hockey players.
Well, that it is, and deservedly so, that you are being inducted today, and we congratulate you. What are you doing today?
Today, I've got my whole family coming here today, and my coaches and college teammates and some players. Some of my oldest friends in the world will be here today. So followed by the Monarchs game afterwards. So we're gonna have a great day.
That is terrific. Well, again, congratulations to you, Julie, and enjoy the day. I know you will.
Thank you very much.
Being inducted today in the New Hampshire Legends of Hockey Hall of Fame, Peter Marr. Peter Marr, another native of Exeter, New Hampshire. Exeter, hockey hotbed, obviously, with Jim Tufts and others coming from Exeter. But tell us about your earliest recollections of playing the game of hockey, Peter.
Well, Ken, I started off with George Crow at the Phillips Exeter Academy, and I remember George saying to me, he taught me how to skate backwards, and he told me skating backwards was like sitting on the can. Just keep your butt right down in it. And at age 5, I didn't need anybody to paint that picture. So that was probably it. And obviously we went through the Phillips Exeter Academy, and it was a great facility to play in as a youth.
Good advice from George Crow, huh?
It was very good advice from George.
I'm going to have to remember that because I never could skate backwards. So I'm going to bear that in mind from now on, Peter.
That's a good point, Ken.
Maybe I could have been a good hockey player if I had known that. But great career there at Phillips Exeter, and then on to the University of Maine, the enemy.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess so. Well, it like I just told Bob Norton, when I went on my recruiting trip to UNH, Charlie showed me the football field, and a little bit head scratching, but Jack Semler, my first coach at Maine, gave me a weekend of debauchery at Maine's finest frat house, Phi Eta Kappa. So after that weekend, I was headed to Maine.
That sealed the deal, huh?
That sealed the deal.
Yeah. Did you play football at Phillips as well?
No, actually, I went to Canterbury School.
Oh, okay.
I skated as a youth at Phillips Exeter Academy, and then I went to Canterbury School in Connecticut.
Yep. And did you play football there?
No.
Oh, okay. So why did Charlie Holt show you the football field?
Ken, head scratching. That's all I'm going to say.
There you go. So tell us about the University of Maine, way up there in Orono, legendary hockey program, right at the start of Hockey East. And I understand you scored the first goal for Maine in Hockey East competition, and it was against UNH.
Well, remember, I was there 81 to 85, so I had 3 years of ECAC, and then obviously Hockey East came on my senior year. So it wasn't such a big deal. It was just the opening game of Hockey East, but it was against UNH and against Bruce Gillies and, another former inductee. So it was pretty special, obviously, playing at Snively and having my folks there.
Well, no question about it. A lively Snively, first goal in Maine history in Hockey East competition, and it must have been exciting. I know you had the ECAC background as well, but the start of a new league had to be exciting. Well,
it was because, for Maine, our closest bus trip was to UNH, and, we flew a lot. We traveled a lot, which was pretty neat. We traveled to, Minnesota Duluth, Colorado College, just the Western Conference teams. And it was great to see how other facilities and other institutions played, which was great for us.
No, absolutely so, and it had to be very exciting. But I bet my money is that you got especially pumped up playing against UNH.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, especially with the student section sitting behind our visitors' box there, that was interesting. You know, a lot of times we'd come back after our shift, and sometimes I wasn't quite sure if that was perspiration or not on the back of my neck.
Did they throw the fish way back then?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I say way back. It wasn't that far, that long ago.
Right. I'm not quite sure we ever won at UNH either, so that was painful. The fish always came out.
You still playing hockey?
Well, not really. The body's not functioning properly these days. So I was coaching for a while with my son, and that was fun. That was good.
So what are you up to these days?
Well, I own a manufacturing rep agency in Exeter, and we cover all of New England. It's a lot of voice data and security and AV products.
Very good. And who do you have here today?
I have my bride and my boy, and my mom's here, brother, and my sister, and of course my friends from my hockey buddies. 4 of them from former UNH Wildcats, which will be painful. They're sitting right behind me, and then let's see, and then a couple other friends. So it'll be good.
Well, you're talking about your friends from UNH, John Norman, Dana Barbin. You played with them for a while, didn't you? I mean, in adult leagues.
Yeah, we did. We pillaged the countryside in Maine and New Hampshire and Mass and Montreal, more so in Montreal. So
I wonder why it was Montreal. Why did you pick Montreal?
That was Coxey's pick,
Oh, okay.
Ralph Cox's pick. Yes. So.
Good. Well, Peter Marr from Exeter, we congratulate you on the honor, richly deserved, and have fun today.
Thank you, Ken.
Joining me, Ben Smith of USA Hockey, and Ben is a special guest today of Julie Sassner, one of the inductees, and I spoke with Julie just a little while ago, and boy, she has done everything possible in women's hockey.
Yeah, my wife has really been a the consummate pioneer, I would say, in women's hockey, from starting as a young kid and working her way right through her school days and her college days as a player, and then playing on the first national team in 1990 at the first IIHF World Championships, and then she was a head coach at Cornell and started the program at University of Wisconsin. I mean, just an Olympic coach in 2002 in Salt Lake, and head of the Women's College Coaches Association. So there's really not an area of women's hockey that she hasn't touched.
And the game has grown by leaps and bounds over the years.
Yeah, well, it's people like Julie, and her parents played such a big part in her development and gave her the opportunities, and she was lucky to grow up at a time and in an area here in New Hampshire where kids were starting to just get off the ragtag ponds and get onto the rinks and start getting jerseys that matched other people, and so this is really an exciting day for Julie and for her family, and obviously for me.
Absolutely so. Tell us a little bit about your background, Ben. You have a very extensive background in the world of hockey.
Well, I've been at it a long time. Maybe you could tell by my look. Started coaching on the men's side of college hockey right out of school back in the late '60s, and had the opportunity to work for Tim Taylor down at Yale, kind of a master of coaching down there. And then I worked for legendary coach Jack Parker for 8 or 9 years, at Boston University. I got a sabbatical in 1988 to help coach the men's team in Calgary. So I've been involved with USA Hockey from the early '80s up until today, where I'm currently working for USA Hockey as kind of a national teams consultant. I still do some things for the women's program, scouting and watching players, and I'm working on the boys' side with our under-20 junior national team that'll be playing in the World Championships this coming Christmas season in Ufa, Russia. So that might not be on anybody's radar screen, but it's for the hockey world. That's one of the big tournaments in the year.
Well, it is now, Ben, thanks to you. Tell us about some of the players that you've coached over the years.
Well, just looking in the list today, I see Tara Moundsey's name on the list, and Tricia Dunn and Katie King Crowley now. So they're three of New Hampshire's finest and proudest. And I got to coach, I guess, Katie and Trish on the original Olympic team in 1998 with Tara, Katie, and Trish, and then Katie and I think those three also were with us in Salt Lake when Julie and I were coaching there in Salt Lake together, and Trish and Katie stayed on for another go at 2006. So they were three of the best players I ever coached on, whether you're talking male or female.
The game has come a long way in a relatively short amount of time, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think things like this today, and the individual affiliates here in New England, like New Hampshire, and as far as USA Hockey is concerned, but right across the country, and it's interesting for me, Ken, to see where the players, what their protocol is now. I mean, you're getting players from Florida and Texas and California, but it's still nice to see the players still being recognized here in New England and New Hampshire today.
And, of course, USA Hockey has been a big part in that development as well.
Well, it has, but I think, USA Hockey is really the grassroots. And so, a day like today, I think, really kind of brings that to the forefront so that, all the inductees today are people that have, been a big part of the development and growth of hockey. And USA Hockey's been the recipient of these people's gifts.
Well, Ben, it is certainly a pleasure to have you with us here today, and congratulations to Julie.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks, Ken. Nice to see you.
Joining me now, a gentleman with a deep and rich hockey background, George Chase from St. Paul's School in Concord. And George, currently the coach of the women's team, the girls' team at St. Paul's, if you will. And George, you've been there for a long time at St. Paul's, coached the boys, now the girls. Do you have a preference?
I can't say anything.
Can't say.
No, I can't say, but I enjoy coaching both. I'm now just the assistant coach for the girls. So we got a great head coach, Heather Farrell, who used to be the coach at Bowdoin and has coached at Bemidji State, and she's really a lot of fun to work with. But I've had fun coaching the girls as head coach and as assistant coach for the boys with Tim Pratt and Matt Soul, another Concord guy I grew up playing with. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, absolutely, and I imagine you have seen over the years that you've been at St. Paul's the development of the girls' hockey program, and the skill level has gone up, I think, each and every year.
It's been fantastic. The girls' team they have some players who are really skilled, and some have been playing on a national level. A recent graduate of ours, Katie Brock, is captain at UNH right now. So if you've been to one of their games, you can see they have some pretty good skills.
Well, no question about that. Now, we talked about your rich and deep hockey roots, and tell us about your grandfather.
Well, John Chase was my grandfather, and he played at Harvard. And coached Harvard for quite a while, and he was captain of the 1932 Olympic team, the one that Doug Everett played on. And they had their Olympic adventure in Lake Placid, as many of you probably know, in 1932, and won the silver medal, lost to Canada 2-1 in the finals, I believe it was. And but we have some interesting home videos of those games, and it's pretty incredible to watch those guys in action. It's good fun. A lot of good passing. Puck didn't leave the ice too much, though.
Never left the ice, huh?
Not often.
So quite a difference between 1932 and 2012.
Absolutely. The game has evolved. It's become so incredibly, faster paced. The equipment has made a huge difference, and so many more people are interested in playing the game that it's really amazing how much the game has matured and developed and evolved.
And of course, at St. Paul's School, really the roots of hockey in all of the United States, right here in Concord.
Absolutely. We still have, we've got the legend of Hobie Baker. If you come over to the Hockey Center at St. Paul's, you can see a little memorial to him over there in the corner with his picture and one of his old skate blades. And it's pretty cool to think that he was playing on that pond out there, 100 years ago, and still we're honoring him with the award to the Division I Player of the Year for the men's team. So it's great.
It is a great thing, and your dad coached as well.
Yeah, my dad coached at St. Paul's. He was coach of the varsity team for a while. He played at Harvard too. He's got the special distinction of being the guy who scored the first goal in the first bean pot. That's one of his
Wow.
claims to fame. Yeah, 1953 team. Yeah, so he's a hockey enthusiast. Played here in Concord for the Concord Shamrocks, and I think maybe he coached. He coached the St. Paul's team in the early 70s. Yeah.
So first goal in the first Beanpot, 53 at the old Garden. I would assume they played it at the Boston Garden, not the arena. And did Harvard win that tournament?
I believe they did. Yeah. I believe they won. They haven't won too many since, but
I didn't mean it like that.
They did pretty well. They had a good team then. Yeah, yeah.
Where did you play?
I played at Bowdoin College up in Brunswick, Maine, and back with the coach of ours, who was very well known coach, Sid Watson, and had a great time playing up there. We had some very good teams. We won the ECAC 3 out of 4 years when we were there. It was called Division II back then, but yeah, it was fun.
Well, a long and extensive and diversified hockey background for you, George, and it's great to have you with us here today.
Well, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, I think this is a great event, and Jimmy Hayes has done a great job organizing it every year. So
He's amazing, isn't he?
thanks for yeah. He was my captain. I played 1 year at Concord High, and he was the senior captain when I was on the team there. So he's always been a hero, to me, big.
Well, he's the captain of this banquet, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
The New Hampshire Legends of Hockey today honoring the Berlin Mountaineers and some great teams in Berlin over the past years, and a great, rich hockey tradition there as well. Joining me is the athletic director at Berlin High School, Craig Melanson. And Craig, a native of Berlin, so the rich history of hockey in Berlin means a lot to you.
Oh, it's huge. I think for the community at hand, for the players, both present and past, the coaching staffs, this is quite the honor for us to be down here today.
Well, and certainly a lot of you have come down, made the trip from Berlin. Quite a number of your boys hockey players and girls hockey players.
Yes, we'll be celebrating our 84th year for schoolboy hockey, and this will be our 6th year for the girls. So we have a total of about 34 student athletes down here today.
That is terrific, and I know after the banquet you'll be heading down to Manchester for the Monarchs game today with Binghamton, and I understand that your teams are going to be carrying the flag out to center ice today.
Yes, they're going to be wearing their high school uniforms representing the city of Berlin, so should be quite the thing.
And the Monarchs will be wearing commemorative jerseys as well that will be auctioned off during the game, and a silent auction then after the game and a live auction. But we've talked so much over the years. There are so many inductees into the Legends Hall of Fame from Berlin with such a rich hockey history, winning the vast majority of all the early hockey championships here in the state of New Hampshire, and the tradition continues.
Hopefully we can keep it up. Absolutely.
There's got to be a lot of pressure, though, at Berlin because, it's such a rich hockey community. The roots are deep, and fans are really into it there.
Yes, they are. Our kids probably start skating when they can first start walking, so it's second nature to a lot of these kids when they step on the ice.
Well, absolutely so, and the atmosphere there is still great. I know the people up there take it very, very seriously, and we understand that there have been some economic problems in Berlin over the years, factories shutting down and what have you. But the great spirit of hockey has remained.
Absolutely, and that's, I think, an attribute to the people of Berlin and the blue-collar workers that we have. Even through tough times, we eventually find light at the end of the tunnel, and that's an attribute to be very proud of.
And hockey has maybe been a very positive thing to get you through some of those bad times.
Absolutely. I think hockey and our athletic programs at the high school have definitely been a very good safety net for a lot of our people in the community to feel good about.
How does it feel to be honored by the Legends and then later on the Manchester Monarchs?
This is unbelievable. I think it's a little bit overwhelming. I think our kids walked in here like deer in headlights, per se. But I think showcasing these fine young men and women and past coaches and players, like I mentioned before, this is going to be awesome for the community.
Well, absolutely. So, what is your background? Did you play hockey at high school?
No, I was on the hard court. I was a basketball
Oh, okay.
player. But I was a huge fan. We were down there every weekend and cheering on our boys, and they'd be returning the favor in the gym also. So it's great community atmosphere.
Now, a lot of people say there's no hockey atmosphere in New Hampshire like the Notre Dame Arena.
Oh no. You better wear your boots when you get into the Notre Dame Arena.
And everything else you own, right?
Absolutely.
To stay a little bit warm.
It's so true.
But people still love their hockey in Berlin, always will. Such a great hockey community. And, Craig, I know that you realize how rich a tradition it is, and it's great to have you and your hockey players here today.
Great.